A couple more things I wanted to just quickly mention about this card and the imagery on it before we move on. So there's also a message coming in here about, you're taking care of yourself and spending time with people who are good for you. And you need to balance being independent with cooperation. If you look at this figure, she's surrounded by all this abundance, right? Everything is green. There's lots of idea is plenty around her, right? Everything she needs is being provided. So remember, while she's a very strong, independent figure, she's also receiving from her environment. So that could mean letting friends help you, giving you an ear when you need someone to talk to. Maybe somebody's helping you move. There's that message coming through for someone specific there. Somebody's moving. Who's doing that? Let me know in the comments if any of this resonates, okay? And I also want to point out there's a few other suggestions of balance here that we didn't mention. That black cat down there, she's integrated with her shadow. She's in that cocoon with her light and dark. She's got the unicorn behind her and her shadow self represented by the black cat there. So anywhere that we're feeling in the dark, we're supposed to remember there's that canopy of green leaves is right behind us, and we just need to balance and know that the dark parts or the shadows, that's just part of who we are, part of that whole knowing ourselves, right? Now I'm going to show you the last cards. We're getting to the butterfly position here. And what turned up for that? Queen of Swords. Remember that Ace of Swords we just saw right over here, right? Well, now the Queen is wielding the sword. But I want to talk for just a quick sec here about this, the clarifying card that came up, the Magician. The Magician is number 1 in the major arcana. Remember we talked about the Fool is 0, and you get past the Fool and you've taken that initial leap, that leap of faith, if you will, then you become the Magician. The Magician has got the fire power, he's got the moon there, he's in tune and harmony with nature, and he's making things happen. Let's back up a little bit. We have the Queen of Swords. So let's talk about her first, right? So she came up as the butterfly. Well, that's not surprising. The Queen of Swords is honestly the most totally with it together, on top of her game queen in the deck, because she has discernment. She has that self-knowledge that we said we were gaining in the cocoon, so it's perfect that she's in this position. Does she not look like a butterfly even a little bit, with the sort of wispy wings around her there? And she knows where she's at. She knows what she's about. I'm going to just set her down here. She is literally known, you cannot make this stuff up, guys. She is known as the Queen of Transformation. All right, that's what she is called in a lot of interpretations. She's very independent, and she's fair and wise. She's a good communicator, right? She's got that Ace of Swords in her hand. Let's have a look at that. She's wielding that sword. She knows exactly what to do with that sword. Like, really knows what to do with it. And look at the sword upright too. That's very symbolic as well. Like, she's in control, she's in charge of her own destiny, her own fate. So she really embodies balance, again, of masculine and feminine energy. She's got the beautiful feminine energy, but she also has that decisiveness, right? We talked about that gap when we're in the cocoon. Well, there's no gap in the Queen of Swords space. She knows exactly where she's standing. She's not wondering about anything. So she's holding that sword up, showing us that she's in charge. In a standard deck, she's shown actually sitting on a throne or a dais with carvings on it, and some of the carvings are actually butterflies. So that's just brilliant, right? Again, the Queen of Transformation, that's probably why that symbol's been used in those decks, but how perfect is that for the theme of our reading here? She is the queen to show up and tell us, yes, you are effectively and successfully making this transformation. So she teaches us, first of all, to seek that clarity and truth and discernment. She also teaches us to lead from the head and make wise decisions, but only after we have grounded ourselves, that was back in the cocoon, right? In compassion and empathy in our heart space. So she is only able to be this discerning queen because she has gone through that beginning of passion, of knowing that passion for self. That's what that is. That's like self-love, beginning of self-love right there. And then you come out wielding your sword and waving your magic wand like the magician and making things happen. The butterfly is definitely very powerful and active here, right? There's a specific message coming through too when I meditated on these cards, that the sword of discernment is very key because it allows us to empathize with others, right? Share that cup that we were talking about before, but we do not want to be dragged down into any heavy or burdensome energies. In other words, we don't want to get dragged back into the cocoon or tangled up in it as we're coming out. Do you see that image? Like a butterfly just breaking out of that cocoon and, the wings stuck, Use that sword to cut away anything that's trying to ensnare you or drag you back down and keep you from flying completely free. So the cautions that she brings us, because she is a very discerning, cautious leader, is that you need to have that grounding in your emotional center, but not let your emotions cloud your clarity, especially if they're coming and from your reaction to other people. So again, every butterfly has its own little unique tiny differences. Knowing yourself, staying true to yourself, that's what's going to keep us conscious of staying on our path and truly, evolving into what we are trying to move into. And that's what's going to make it possible for you to discover your next caterpillar stage, right? Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but ultimately we just want to keep discovering new things to be curious about. So we don't ever want to be callous to others, but we definitely need to stand in our own space, make sure that we are following our own priorities, right? Good fences are important, but so are gates, so know when to let people in, trusting your own strength, trusting your own authority. You can always adjust your boundaries, that you don't have to have them set permanently. You can bring them closer in, put them further out. That's your choice, okay? So know your limits. Know what you have to give to other people. Know how much magic you've got in your wand, okay? And then you decide how much you need for yourself, how much you can share, back to that balance between cooperative and independent, right? So, again, take good care of yourself. Honor your own wisdom. Your head knows how to lead you. Your heart knows where it wants to go. So let them work together. Really let them work together. If you need to, make adjustments so that you have more personal time with yourself, maybe you can sort of strike a balance between giving and keeping that energy for yourself. So maybe the boss wants you to take on a big extra project and you say, well, I can't do that because I need time for myself, but I can give you a few extra hours on Tuesday if it'll help, and maybe call in a few other people to do a few hours and we can all get it done together. She's very good at bringing that together, really seeing who has skills that can be put to good use, which skills you have, how to use them best. She lives inside all of us. We just have to access her. So let your Queen of Swords cut through the bullshit, pardon me, and that way you can get on with your magic. All right, I've got a few more things to say about how these all tie together. We're just going to stop this clip right here, and I will be right back.